Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar where we will be introducing the new Bullhorn Onboarding. I wanted to go over a few housekeeping items before we get started. First of all, everyone is in this webinar on mute, so if you have questions, please go ahead and enter them in the questions pane on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll try our best to cover all of the questions, but in case we don't get to yours specifically, we'll follow up with you individually after the webinar. Today's webinar will be recorded and you will receive a copy of the recording within the next 24 hours. And we should wrap up today's session in about 30 minutes. So, wanted to introduce our presenters today. So, my name is Emily, and I am on the product marketing team here at Bullhorn. And I'm joined today by Kat Catini from our solution consultant team. She will take you through the demo portion of today's webinar. So our plan for today is I will start off by giving an overview into why a streamlined onboarding process can be so beneficial to your business and how Bullhorn Onboarding can play a key part in that. And since we just released a really exciting and innovative new Bullhorn Onboarding product, I'll provide a summary of what is new and different before Kat takes over to provide a live demo. We'll close it out with a look into the future of Bullhorn Onboarding and what updates and enhancements are to come. At the end, we'll have time for questions, so be sure to add those in using the chat window. So why Bullhorn Onboarding? I'm sure that question is on everyone's mind today for, why should I even use Bullhorn Onboarding, or, what is so important about an onboarding process to my own business? Well, we know in today's industry that there is a candidate shortage and unemployment is at a record low, but there is still a talent shortage that we're seeing in the industry. So we really don't want to lose candidates between job fill and start dates. So creating a great candidate experience for your customers and your candidates can really improve the entire onboarding process that you see both with your candidates and your clients after your candidates start their new position. And we really see with our customers that time is being wasted on these manual processes. So making sure that your process is streamlined is really important to making sure that your team is working as efficiently as possible. Some of the stats that we are seeing that are really compelling and helping us have that conversation about Bullhorn onboarding, 60% of job seekers are reporting a poor experience with onboarding. And this is really interesting because onboarding is such an important part of the candidate job seek process, and making sure that they have a positive experience with onboarding is really important for your business to maintain that professionalism throughout the entire process. So it's a really compelling stat to see that, such a large percentage of job seekers are reporting that poor experience. And at the same time, only 24% of agencies are fully automating that onboarding process. So it's interesting to think about the improvements that 24% of agencies could have if they did continue to automate that onboarding process. And throughout the webinar today, we'll give you some suggestions about where certain automations can help improve the overall onboarding process. So where can Bullhorn Onboarding actually come into play here? So I'll go through a few of these key differentiators, but overall, we've really found that Bullhorn Onboarding can help you reduce costs and save time in your onboarding process, and also help you control your documents and your business as a whole. And what we mean here is the idea of a one-stop shop for all of your documents that you are providing with your candidates, and being able to easily search and edit those documents to make sure that you are being as efficient as possible with this onboarding process. Both of these things seek to help you offer an amazing candidate experience, both throughout the interview process as well as pre-hire and post-hire documentation. So really making sure that every step of the way, from the operational side of things with those costs and time savings, to a candidate experience side where you're providing that positive experience and making sure that your candidates are ready to start their new positions and ready to start that next step with the help of your company, getting them onboarded for their new role. So I'm sure this onboarding process looks really familiar to a lot of people on today's webinar. This is how a typical onboarding process works, where you're taking new hire documentations via email and really taking each of these steps throughout the onboarding process to get your candidates ready to start their new roles. So it usually starts with building the actual document for your candidates to fill out. You're sending it via email, so you're locating the document on your computer, attaching it via email. If you're like me, verifying that it's the right document that you've attached via email, and then sending it along. And then at that point, it's really in the candidate's hands a lot of times. You are really waiting for them to fill out that document. Perhaps they've forgotten and you need to send them a reminder. Perhaps they filled it out incorrectly and they have to make a change after that point. So a lot of email back and forth happens here, and that can often delay this onboarding process really greatly. And that often prohibits the candidate from starting on time, which I'm sure everyone can agree is usually not a great experience on either side. You want that candidate to start their new position on time. So this process usually ends with printing and physically signing the documents, which presents a whole slew of other obstacles. Perhaps your candidate doesn't have a printer available at their house, or you need to deliver by hand. Here you can see that last step in the process, and you have to schedule a time for that candidate to come in and submit that document. And we know a lot of candidates are currently working, so these steps at the end can often just add more time to this entire process, making sure that they have the right equipment and being able to deliver it by hand. So where it gets really exciting here is the fact that with Bullhorn onboarding, you really eliminate a lot of these tedious steps within this process. You can scan and build all your documents within our onboarding product, so you're not worried about locating a document within your desktop. You can find it right in the Bullhorn onboarding process or Bullhorn onboarding product, and then you can really easily send it to the candidate still via Bullhorn onboarding. So you're still within the same platform. You're not exiting out and going into your email. You're doing this all from right within the Bullhorn onboarding product. And then on the candidate side, they're getting their own candidate portal, and Kat will show you that in just a moment. They're getting their own candidate portal where they're able to log on and see the document and sign it all from a mobile device or their computer. So they're not looking for a printer to print their document or making sure they have a place to go do that. They're able to do that all digitally on their end. And that often saves the candidate and yourselves a lot of time with making sure that document gets completed effectively. And then you're able to manage that document all within Bullhorn as well. So perhaps the candidate needs to make an edit on the document. They wrote their wrong phone number or something like that. They can do that all within onboarding. They're able to log on to their own platform and edit that information, and being able to send it back to you digitally ensures that you aren't looking for the printed out document in the many files you might have on your desk. So you can manage this all within one platform, and that really creates that streamlined workflow where you're really able to make sure that everything's in one place, so you and your team aren't searching a few different areas for the piece of information that you're looking most to find. I'll dive in here to a few different use cases for each role that you may have on your team and how each of those roles can benefit from this streamlined onboarding process and Bullhorn onboarding in particular. So first up, on the recruiter and the sales side of things. Recruiters and salespeople are doing tons of things every day. I actually was a recruiter before joining the team here at Bullhorn, and I can say easily I had, 50 thoughts on my mind at any given moment. And one of the things that came up often was corresponding with candidates to get their paperwork filled out to make sure they started on time. The company I worked for saw a dramatic drop off in candidates who started if their start date was continuously pushed out. So they had a delay or they had to fill out paperwork, and as that start date continuously got it pushed out, the likelihood of them actually starting their new role dropped off dramatically. We know the industry is really competitive, and we know these candidates are getting contacted very often from other companies that they could potentially take jobs for. So the sooner you and your team are able to get that candidate onboarded and to start their new position, the likelihood that that candidate's going to have a positive experience and start that new role on time. So with onboarding, recruiters are able to really monitor the status of candidate documents very efficiently with a nice view of each candidate's status and which documents they still need to submit or still need to be approved. As I mentioned before, recruiters are really easily able to send documents and packets to candidates all from within one platform, so they're not spending time downloading a packet or the multiple documents within that packet and then sending along to a candidate via email. They can do it all right from within one platform. And then while they're making sure that all of their candidates are moving through this process efficiently, recruiters can easily search, view, and take actions right from within the onboarding platform. So you can make sure that you are up to date throughout the entire process so that you know which candidates need actions to be taken or which candidates are ready to start their new positions. On the operations side of things, we can very easily visualize the entire pool of pre or post-hire. So this helps us understand where in the process each candidate is, so we can understand what actions need to be taken. Do documents need to be submitted? Do documents need to be approved? We can visualize that entire pool of new hire documents so we can make sure everything's moving efficiently through the process. Then we can also build and edit documents from right within this same platform, so we're not worried about things carrying over or things getting lost in the shuffle. We are building and editing these documents all within one platform so that the documents are all living in one place, reducing the likelihood that something's going to get lost. And then at the end of this, we are able to overall easily track document status, which is really important if you need to make sure candidates are starting on a certain date, and that way you can make sure if they're falling behind or need reminders, you can go ahead and take those actions so that everyone starts on time. And then on the candidate side, one of the really important aspects we mentioned earlier in the webinar, making sure this candidate experience is really positive for them. So candidates are able to access an online portal and actually view that online portal in their preferred language. So perhaps Spanish is their first language and the language that they're most comfortable in. They're able to view that candidate portal in Spanish to make sure that they're understanding every step of their onboarding process specifically. Candidates can also view and sign their documents on the go, so you won't need to make sure that they have a printer or a pen and paper handy to fill out any documents. They can do that all from a mobile device or a laptop computer. So wherever they are, they can make sure that they are submitting those documents. And then they can also use e-signature. So for documents where you may need that added level of security, we're able to use the e-signature functionality so that candidates can sign those documents as well. So as I mentioned before, one of the really exciting things that has happened recently is we've released a brand new Bullhorn onboarding, and that's come with it a lot of really exciting enhancements and additions to the core product that many customers already know and love. So I'll take this time to go through some of the recent enhancements and what's new and different before Kat actually takes us into a live demo to show you everything that's new and exciting over here. So we're kind of deeming this the next generation onboarding product because while our previous onboarding product was very effective for many customers, we saw a lot of areas for improvement and a lot of places where we can really affect change for our customers and help them do their jobs better. So overall, we've updated the user experience to be more clean and more modern, and with that, more efficient for customers who are using it day in and day out. So I'm sure many customers will recognize some of these screenshots from our previous onboarding product and see that they are, much more improved from what we've previously had. So overall, that's been a really big game changer for our customers. Just that added user experience improvements have really helped them streamline their tasks within this product. And then we've even further developed out our integration into Bullhorn's ATS. So, one of the things Kat will show on the demo is how closely integrated these two products are, so that if you are working with the ATS on the front office and you're adding in candidates and you are managing them on that platform, but then you also have a team that's responsible for managing the onboarding process, these two products are now even more closely integrated to make sure that all of the information carries over from one to the other, so that if you have a recruiter entering in candidate information and you have an operations individual on the onboarding side of things, if one person gets a note that the candidate's email has changed, enters that into the system, now the other person will also see that updated information and make sure that everyone's on the same page. So really exciting update here, and that's actually all due to field flowback, which is that third bullet point down, and that's what makes these two products even more closely integrated, is the idea that information is flowing very seamlessly between the Bullhorn ATS and Bullhorn Onboarding, so that everything is consistent from one product to the other. We've also redesigned our document builder. So one of the main aspects to Bullhorn Onboarding is the ability to create and manage your documents all in one system. So this could be anything from an I-9 tax form to another new hire documentation form that you may need, or a form that relates to any of the tasks that a candidate might have to do on the job. So any of these forms that you're using that you need a new hire to sign, Bullhorn Onboarding is able to manage those. You can edit them, you can add fields to them to make sure your candidate's inputting the right information. Really, all of these aspects could take a lot of time to manage. With this updated document builder, all of that time management is now reduced. You're spending a lot less time building and managing these documents, and now you can devote that time to other things you have going on throughout the day. We've also redesigned the packet administration workflow. So for those of you who already have Bullhorn Onboarding and are using our packet workflow, it's the ability to add multiple documents into one packet. So let's say you just have a packet that says new hire forms, and you have a tax form, you have a work release form, all of these different types of forms. You can have that in one packet, send that out to candidates, and make it really easy for yourselves and the candidates to manage all of those different documents in one packet. So we've redesigned this ability and made it even more streamlined for you to manage and send out these packets to your candidates. As I mentioned before, one of my favorite parts of onboarding is the ability to view all of your candidates and their each individual statuses. So does this candidate have documents that they still need to be filled out? Do they have documents that are still waiting to be approved? All of these different actions that you need to take to make sure they start their new position. We have this list view that makes it really easy to see where everybody falls in that process. And then overall, that enhanced candidate experience, you can see, these bottom two screenshots here are our mobile device and the candidate portal. And we really enhanced that candidate experience to make sure that information that a candidate is adding into their documents is really easy to do so and really efficient for the candidate, because we know everyone's very busy and we want to make sure that candidates are able to really efficiently fill out these documents. So that enhanced candidate experience makes it that much faster for candidates to fill out those documents, and then that much easier for you to get that information into the system. So, no, I gave you a lot of information just now, but I think everyone's very eagerly awaiting to actually see onboarding itself. So I'm going to pass the reins over to Kat on our solution consultant team, who will take us through the live demo.
Great, thank you, Emily. So we'll go through the onboarding demo today, actually take a look at what the new product looks like and talk about some of those changes. To break it up today, what we'll see is a demo split into 3 pieces. That will start with the recruiter sending the new documents from the front office piece, then taking a look at what the candidate will view on their online portal, and then lastly ending up in the admin area where we can create documents, create packets, and organize those. As we dive into the product here, we're going to start in the Bullhorn front office, again as a recruiter starting to send out those documents. Here, I'm the recruiter. I've simply opened a placement record, opened my onboarding tab, and this is where I can start to initialize sending out those documents that again will end up in the candidate portal where they can access online on their computer or on their mobile device. A few different ways for us to send out documents here. We can do it, as Emily mentioned, individually. So we can send out individual documents. That's what you'll see me do today with an offer letter that we'll send out and then eventually sign, or we can send out packets of documents. So groups of documents that end up together. Normally those are grouped by client, by location, by type of job. And so we can send out more than one document at a time with those packets. Most helpful part of those packets is also the ability to automate the sending out of those packets. So as soon as a placement has been created with a certain client, let's say Amazon here, for example, we can have that sent out automatically, and all those documents that belong to Amazon can end up in the client portal, or the candidate portal, I should say. I've actually gone ahead and sent out an offer letter before the fact here. That's what we'll see in the candidate portal. But before we pivot to what the candidate sees, how they view that document, how they sign it, we have another workflow in which we can send documents out from, and that's from the candidate area. So for any documents that need to be sent out before a placement is made, any of those pre-boarding documents that happen before a placement is created or approved can be sent out from this area as well. Whether it be a right to represent, background check document, we can also send out from that area. Either way we send it, what will happen is the candidate will then receive that in their portal. They will receive an auto-generated username and password, and then they can log in to see their documents, which is what we are going to view now. I've quickly sent out those documents to Michael here. As the candidate, he will receive, again, an auto-generated username and password, and also a secure branded link where he can log into and then view his documents. As soon as he logs into the portal here, he'll be able to see all the documents that he has access to over on the left-hand side of the screen. For the candidate experience, we split the screen in half here. All the documents on the left-hand side are the documents that have yet to be filled out. In this case, we only have 2, an I-9, for example, and this offer letter that I've sent out previously. And then you'll see the documents move over to the right-hand side when they have been completed by the candidate. Let's dive right in as Michael take a look at this offer letter that we have sent over to him and see what it looks like. Again, Michael, the candidate, can simply open up this letter. You have full control over what these letters look like, as well as the fields that are overlaid. So you have full control, and in this case, we'll show you how we actually designed this letter. And then you'll design the underneath, but all the fields that overlay are auto-filled on the document here and come directly from that placement record. No need to map the document every single day. Every single time you're sending it out to a candidate with a new placement, that information will pre-populate the document for you. Should also mention with our new release of onboarding, something a little bit different from the previous version is that fields will also flow back. So as Emily mentioned, we now have field flowback. So if Michael were to update his name or any field you give him access to update, he has the ability to modify that, and that will flow back into his profile. In this case, if he wants a nickname on file, he can change it. And again, that will flow back into his candidate profile automatically. And again, you can design which fields flow back, which do not, and then where they flow to as well. At the bottom of the document, the candidate also has the ability to sign the document. Again, you have control over which way the candidate signs, where those signatures live on the document, and there's two different ways to sign a document here. First way is more of a wet signature, more of that traditional signature, more popular on the mobile device, which again, the candidate has the ability to view and sign the documents on, and they can quickly put in their signature or initials here, have our checkbox, and then use that wet signature to complete that document. More simply, there is also a click to sign, same checkbox there, allows the candidate to sign it a little bit faster. Again, you can design which signature you're going to be using. And then for both signatures, we do have that date and time stamp as well as IP address stamp as well for any audit purposes. Once the candidate has completed all the required fields, again, you can control which fields are required, which are not when you're setting up the document. All the candidate has to do is submit that document back. You'll see the document move over to the right-hand side. Any fields that you've designed and have been updated will flow back, and this document will also be able to be viewed in the admin area, which we will dive into next. The one other document we wanted to talk about very quickly today was also the I-9 document. So Bullhorn does supply the I-9 document for you here. The candidate in their portal, again, has the ability to sign Section 1 electronically, fill out Section 1 here, submit that back, and then Section 2 can be filled out by an admin, which we'll take a look at in the next section, or by a remote individual if the employee cannot make it in the office to show that physical document. Very quickly, that was the candidate portal. That's the candidate's experience and what they'll see. Again, both on desktop and mobile, the candidate has the ability to take a look there. When the candidate does submit the document back, we'll actually move back into the front office, but when the document is able to submit that document back electronically, which we just saw, all those statuses will update in real time. So here's that placement we sent that document out from. We'll now see that document is in a submitted status. So in real time, recruiters can view the statuses of the documents coming in, have full access into where those documents are, view it on an individual basis, so per placement or per candidate, or they can view it on a larger dashboard card area where they can see whether or not the documents have come back and whether or not the candidates are ready to start working or not based on whether those documents have come back or not. Moving into the third section of the demo, we'll talk more about the admin area. And this is really the area where the most improvements from the new version of onboarding are coming into play, starting with our dashboard area here. So again, admins will have access to this area, depends on who you want to grant access to or not. But from this dashboard area, they can see all individuals that have documents assigned to them, sent to their candidate portal, and then they can see at what status those documents are at, based on whether or not those documents have been sent back or not. We can also see the E-Verify status, so when that I-9 is being completed, that E-Verify status can also live in the portal, in the admin area, I should say, and live in one simple place. As an admin, if I want to take a look at Michael, the candidate we were just completing documents as, we can pull him up. Again, we can see the status of his documents that have come in there, that one document he submitted to us previously, and I can even take a deeper dive if I need to into his documents, view that completed document he filled out, as well as fill out Section 2 of the I-9, and then we can also integrate with E-Verify and send that along as well. The last portion we'll get to in the admin area here is also the ability for us to create the documents. and then also create packets. So again, this would occur before any documents are sent out. You as an admin have full control over the documents that you're uploading, and then also the fields that you're overlaying on top of the documents, and you can modify those at any time. Again, the document builder is new here, new and improved, so we do have some ways to make it easier to create the document, save the document, and it's a simple drag and drop feature in order to overlay fields. And again, these fields that we're overlaying will pull down from the candidate's profile, the placement information to go ahead and auto-populate that document when it is sent out. We do have guides, easy to line up those documents. We can modify any of these fields here, and we can remove any of the fields if they don't make sense here as well. What we also have in this area is the ability to create those packets. So as Emily mentioned, we can create packets as well, sets of documents that can also be sent out automatically and sent out in groups. So where we can create those packets, create those business rules. Very easy way to organize your documents into different areas and groups and then send them out all at once. So in short, that was the onboarding experience. That was what the recruiter sees, the candidate sees in their portal, and then eventually what we saw the admin see. I will pass it back to Emily now for the remainder of the presentation, and she'll take it from here.
Thanks, Kat. That was a really great demo. I'm glad we were able to run through all of the new and exciting changes to Bullhorn onboarding. But don't just take my word for it. We have surveyed our customers, and we have found that 85% of those surveyed saw a 15% or greater reduction in time spent on new hire documents as a result of implementing Bullhorn onboarding. So really exciting time savings, Sarah. I know I mentioned that at the beginning of the webinar, but this is a really great thing to see from our customers, because we really want to ensure that we are providing that time savings, and seeing this from our customers in the survey has really made the difference. And a few other quotes that we have here, these are actually from this recent update to Bullhorn onboarding. Since implementing, we've successfully shortened the time between placement and start from days to just hours, and also having that invaluable branded solution, that candidate portal that Kat showed, has been really invaluable to this customer and is helping them save a lot of time. So really great feedback here, and we hope that those of you on the call today that are considering implementing onboarding for your own teams also see these similar improvements to your workflow. And now a few more quotes here, just because we really love to hear this feedback from customers. So if you do have feedback, definitely be sharing it with us along the way. Really a lot of feedback about the new doc builder and the new look and feel, and then also just overall loving the new onboarding and the new tools with that cleaner look to the application itself. And as I mentioned before, there's still more development to come. We are still working on new features and new enhancements to onboarding. A few of them here are the idea of smart forms, which is making forms a little bit more dynamic, being able to pull in additional information, and allowing your forms to really be an added area for you to get information from candidates. The idea of something called document field flow down, which would be the ability for candidates to input information even quicker on forms, allowing them to fill out, their first name field with just a few clicks, and having those fields flow throughout the document for that added time savings. And then in addition to that, the support for different languages, and the ability to have you merge candidates to make sure that you are having the most streamlined information in your database. And some additional SMS enhancements, and the ability to have different versions of documents to track changes along the way. So we have time here for, I'll just tackle a few questions here that we got that came in that I think a lot of people are probably wondering about. So we had a few questions about the E-Verify ability. So E-Verify is functionality that you can purchase along with Bullhorn onboarding. So if you currently have Bullhorn onboarding and you don't have the E-Verify integration, definitely encourage you to reach out to your account manager. And then if you are considering purchasing onboarding, I would encourage you to ask about the E-Verify integration along with your onboarding demo. And then in addition to that, is this available for both S-Release and Novo customers? So any customers on here that have S-Release, you are able to get the new version of Bullhorn Onboarding just as customers on Novo are able to do. And customers who have Bullhorn Onboarding right now, you've already received communications about being rolled over to the new Bullhorn Onboarding. But for customers who are on the call that do not have Bullhorn Onboarding, we encourage you to just reach out to your account manager, and they are able to provide you lots more details about onboarding, or you can just go to bullhorn.com/onboarding. So if you submitted a question and we didn't get to it, we will reach out to you separately, and then we will also send out a recording of this webinar in just under 24 hours. So keep an eye on your inboxes for that. But we really appreciate your time today, and if you have any additional questions, definitely reach out to your account manager or go on the Bullhorn website for more information. But have a great rest of your day, and we hope you enjoyed the webinar.